Let's think about your digital life for a second. All your data, your accounts, your work, picture it all as a castle. Now, that castle holds a ton of valuable stuff, but it's also under constant threat. So today, we're going to look at the blueprint for a modern-day fortress, one that's designed to defend your digital realm.
And to kick things off, I want to show you a number that should really grab your attention: $4.45 million. According to a recent report, that was the average cost of a single data breach in 2023. Yeah, that's not just some abstract figure. It's a huge reason why understanding this stuff is, well, it's not optional anymore.
You know, the truth is, we're all operating in what you could call a digital jungle. It's this wild landscape where threats aren't just there, they're always changing, always getting smarter. The old defenses we used to rely on, a simple firewall or some antivirus software, they just don't cut it anymore. Attackers have figured out how to just walk right around them.
So, if the old playbook is out, what's the solution? Well, we have to start thinking differently. We need to build a defense in layers, a digital fortress with multiple reinforcing security measures. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to walk through the 3 most critical layers of that fortress.
Okay, first things first. The absolute first line of defense in any castle is the main gate, right? You have to control who's allowed to come in. And in our digital world, that's all about managing who people are and what they're allowed to see. And that brings us to our first big idea: identity and access management, or IAM for short. Just think of IAM as your castle's master gatekeeper. It's a whole system of rules and tech designed to answer 2 really basic questions. First, is this person who they say they are? And second, should they be allowed inside?
See, our gatekeeper really has 2 main jobs. The first one is authentication. That's like checking someone's ID at the gate. It's all about proving you are who you claim to be. But then comes authorization. Once you're inside the castle walls, what can you actually do? Can you go into the throne room? Or are you only allowed in the courtyard? That's authorization.
So how do big companies manage all this for thousands of people? Well, they use structured systems. A really common one is role-based access control, or RBAC. It's simple. You get permissions based on your job. If you're in marketing, you get access to marketing files. Easy. Others are way more dynamic, like ABAC, which can actually grant or deny access based on your location, what device you're on, or even the time of day. And if you think this is all just theory, check this out. This is a perfect example of why this is so critical. A cloud engineer got fired, but no one remembered to turn off his access. So he just logged back in with his old credentials and deleted a bunch of critical company code, causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages. See, letting the right people in is only half the job. You've got to make sure you show them the door the second they're not supposed to be there anymore.
Okay, so that's our gatekeeper, our first layer. But what happens once someone's already inside? You can't just assume they're behaving. You need watchtowers. You need eyes on the walls, constantly looking out for anything suspicious. In the cybersecurity world, we call this security monitoring. And it's not a one-and-done thing. It's a non-stop process of watching and analyzing everything that's happening across your network. Your watchtowers are always staffed, always looking for anything that seems even a little bit off.
So what are these watchtowers actually looking at? They're analyzing logs. Think of logs as just a running diary of every single event that happens. And they're collecting these diaries from everywhere. Security logs tracking login attempts, system logs for what the computers are doing, application logs, network logs. It all gets sent to one central spot to be analyzed.
Now, when those logs show something suspicious, you have to respond. And this is where 2 key tools come into play. An intrusion detection system, or IDS, is basically an alarm. It sees something bad and yells, "Hey, something's wrong over here." But an intrusion prevention system, an IPS, is more like an active security guard. It doesn't just see the threat, it steps in and blocks it on the spot.
And believe me, this isn't a hypothetical. The Log4Shell incident was a huge real-world test of this. A massive vulnerability was found in a piece of software called Log4j, which is used for, you guessed it, logging. It basically gave attackers a key to the kingdom on systems all over the world. The companies that had good monitoring in place, they saw the weird patterns and could react way faster than the ones who were essentially flying blind.
So we've got our gatekeepers and our watchtowers. That's pretty good. But what about the weaknesses we don't even know about yet? A truly strong fortress needs inspectors, people who are actively searching the walls for hidden cracks before an attacker finds them. This is our third layer.
And that brings us to one of the most dangerous threats out there, the zero-day vulnerability. This is a security flaw that even the software maker doesn't know about yet. which means there's no fix for it. It's basically a secret backdoor that's been left wide open. A perfect example was a few years ago when a zero-day in Zoom let attackers remotely take over people's computers, a hidden crack in a very, very popular castle wall.
So how do you find these cracks before the bad guys do? It's not random. There's a whole systematic process, a lifecycle. You have to constantly discover new systems and their vulnerabilities, prioritize which ones are the most dangerous, assess the real threat, report your findings, remediate the problem by patching it, and then, this is key, verify that the fix actually worked. It's a loop that never stops. And to actually find those weaknesses, security teams have two main approaches. First is a vulnerability scan. This is automated and broad. It's like walking around the castle and jiggling the handle on every single door and window to see if anything's unlocked. A penetration test, though, that's a targeted, manual attack. This is where you hire ethical hackers to actually try to break in, to see if they can kick down a specific door. Okay, let's bring this all home. We've talked about the gates, the watchtowers, and the inspectors. The thing is, no single one of these is enough on its own. But when you put them all together, they create something really powerful and resilient, a true digital fortress.
So, the biggest takeaway here is this. A strong defense is a layered defense. You need your gatekeepers, your identity and access management to control who gets in. You need your watchtowers, your security monitoring to see what's happening on the inside. And you absolutely need your inspectors, your vulnerability management to find and fix those weak spots before someone else does.
And that leads us to the most important question of all. Look, it's not enough to just have these three layers. The real strength of the fortress comes from how they work together. Are your inspectors telling your watchtowers where to look more closely? Are your watchtowers alerting your gatekeepers when a trusted user starts acting suspiciously? Because a silent fortress is a vulnerable one. The real defense isn't just having the walls, it's the constant communication happening within them.